disregarding court orders is qualified to get a lifetime job as a judge? Yes or no?
Senator, you're asking a question that implicates a current issue, and under the canons of judicial conduct, I should not and cannot answer.
Do you think that all the members of the United States Supreme Court share your perspective and your view on originalism?
Senator,
Yes or no?
Senator, you're asking a question that implicates a current issue, and under the canons of judicial conduct, I should not and cannot answer.
So you were asked various questions about your views on the role of women and that women can do certain.
What kind of country are we becoming when a judicial nominee gets grilled not for breaking the law, but for daring to believe in the Constitution as it's written? This video is about Mr. Tong, a judicial nominee who just got grilled, and I mean grilled, by a senator more interested in playing, yeah, I got you game, rather than actually assessing his qualifications. And guess what? The senator's problem with him? He believes in the Constitution. This is the Prodigy Unfiltered.
Ask the following two initial questions of all nominees to ensure the fitness of the nominees to serve. So I'll start with Mr. Dunlap and then Mr. Tung. Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No.
No.
Have you ever faced discipline or enter into a settlement related to this kind of conduct?
No.
No.
Can't hear you.
No, Senator.
So, Mr. Tung, you have been asked questions about originalism, and you are an originalist, correct? You have written about it, the importance of originalism.
Senator, I subscribe to originalism, but I would be bound by Supreme Court precedent.
Well, sometimes there is no Supreme Court precedent. So let me just mention that pretty recently, in March, this past March, you wrote, quote, "In my view, there is no real rival to originalism when it comes to the proper method of interpretation." And you noted at the same time that, I'm quoting you, "Originalism recognizes that there may be hard cases, but most cases, including the high-profile ones, are not hard, whether there's a constitutional right to abortion, same-sex marriage, sodomy, pornography, transgender protections. The answer for the originalist is simple: no." Do you think that all the members of the United States Supreme Court share your perspective and your view on originalism?
Senator,
Yes or no?
Senator, I understand the justices on the Supreme Court hold different views on the method of interpreting the Constitution.
So not all of them hold your view that originalism is like no real rival to how things should be interpreted. So, Mr. Tung, as a lawyer and prospective judge, do you believe that court orders must be followed by parties to a court unless and until they are ordered by overturned by an appellate court? Again, yes or no? Should court orders be followed?
As a general matter, Senator, court orders should be followed by the parties that are bound to it.
Well, I don't know what the general matter is. You know, you should. I would think that court orders should be followed. So, do you believe that someone who contemplates disregarding court orders is qualified to get a lifetime job as a judge? Yes or no?
Senator, you're asking a question that implicates a current issue, and under the canons of judicial conduct, I should not and cannot answer.
Well, you know what? There should be judicial conduct that says all judges should believe that judicial orders should be followed. So you know that this is a matter of concern to quite a number of us on this panel. So you were asked various questions about your views on the role of women and that women can do certain things better than men, and I take it that you believe men can do certain things better than women. And the fact that you may have held these views 20 years ago doesn't mean that you no longer hold those views, because I held certain views when I was in college, such as public service is a good thing. I still hold that view. But yet when you were asked whether you still believe in these gender roles, which are very limiting, frankly, in my view, you said that the canons of ethics prohibits you from answering. So do you, I mean, that's like, this is going to be a live question. Should you become a judge in the Ninth Circuit? Do you actually think that that there could be a live question on whether or not a woman's gender role is going to come before you?
Senator, questions relating to, for instance, the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause could come before me, and for that reason, I consider that a live issue, and I wouldn't be able to answer under the
Okay,
canons.
well, you know what? We didn't talk about the 14th Amendment, which, by the way, as far as I'm concerned, is supposed to provide equal protection for everyone, regardless of race, religion, etc. But frankly, what is happening with the 14th Amendment is that it is being weaponized, in my view, that this is a Supreme Court majority that is not exactly holding the 14th Amendment to provide equal protection for everyone. So I just have one more question. You talked about what you call the radical left. What do you mean by radical left? People on the radical left are saying things that are not truthful. What do you mean by the radical left?
Senator, I am unsure from where you're pulling that phrase. I don't have the context to answer, Senator.
You do remember talking about what you consider to be radical left. Mr. Chairman, I hope that I can submit some questions for the record, and it's so disturbing to me that there are some of our nominees who think that they don't have to really respond. I hope that you are not among those, because I will have some questions for the record. Mr. Tung?
Appreciate it, Senator.
Thank you.
If you're new here, I'm just a proud American patriot who's fed up with the DC circus and determined to call it like it is. Today, we're breaking down a Senate confirmation hearing that should make your blood boil, not because of a nominee, but because of the utter insanity coming from the Democrat side of the aisle. Let's get into it. So first off, they open with this weird, almost accusatory line of questioning, asking every nominee if they've ever committed sexual misconduct or settled any related case. Now, don't get me wrong, vetting is important, but the way it was asked, it felt like they were just fishing for a scandal. You could tell this was about optics, not substance. Both Mr. Dunlap and Mr. Tong answered no to every question. End of story, right? Nope. They didn't let up. Then they go after Mr. Tong because, and brace yourself, he believes in originalism. Yeah, that crazy, far-right idea that judges should interpret the Constitution based on what it actually meant when it was written. Imagine that. He even wrote an article, and I respect him for this, saying that there's no real rival to originalism. He pointed out that in most so-called hard cases, abortion, same-sex marriage, transgender protections, the Constitution simply doesn't address those issues. And if it's not in the Constitution, folks, it's not the court's job to invent rights out of thin air. That's called legislating from the bench, and it's exactly what the left wants. They want activist judges who will rubber stamp their radical agenda. Mr. Tom? He's not that guy, and that's why they're going after him. Now here's where it gets really ridiculous. The senator demands that Mr. Tong give a yes or no answer on whether court orders should be followed. He says yes generally because obviously there are exceptions that come up, especially in ongoing litigation. But that's not enough for the senator. She wants him to say what she wants to hear. And because he won't bend the knee and give her a black and white answer to a gray area question, she questions whether he's fit to be a judge. That right there is everything wrong with these hearings. They're not looking for honest, thoughtful people. They want obedient political pawns. Next, they dig up comments from 20 years ago when Mr. Tong allegedly made observations about gender differences. Not sexism, not discrimination, just the fact that men and women have strengths in different areas. Oh no, the horror. He refuses to answer, again, because as a prospective judge, he's ethically bound not to comment on anything that might come before him in court. But the senator twists this into, well, maybe you still believe that outdated view. It's laughable. Look, if someone says men are generally stronger physically or women are more emotionally intuitive, that's not sexism. That's called reality. But in 2025, reality is hate speech to the radical left. Then the senator starts crying about the 14th Amendment being weaponized. Excuse me? She says it's supposed to guarantee equal protection for everyone, which it does. But what she really means is, judges should twist the 14th Amendment to force left-wing outcomes. That's not justice. That's tyranny. The courts are not supposed to play favorites. Equal protection means everyone gets treated the same, not that you invent special protections for every identity group under the sun. And just when you think it couldn't get more absurd, she goes after Mr. Tong for supposedly using the phrase radical left. She demands to know what he meant, as if the term is some kind of hate crime. He says he doesn't recall the context. She doesn't believe him. Let me tell you what the radical left is. It's a movement that wants open borders, child sex changes, the abolition of police, government censorship of speech, and the destruction of the family. If Mr. Tong did call that radical, he's not wrong, he's right on the money. Here's the bottom line. The left doesn't want judges. They want revolutionaries in robes. People who will toss out the Constitution whenever it gets in the way of their utopian fantasy. Mr. Tong might not be perfect, but from what I saw in this hearing, he believes in law and order, the Constitution, and judicial restraint. And for that, the Democrats want to destroy him. That tells me everything I need to know. If we want to preserve our republic, we need judges like Mr. Tong, and we need senators who don't treat every hearing like a CNN audition. Thanks for watching. If you're tired of watching the left hijack every institution in America, from our schools to our courts, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, and leave a comment below. What did you think about the hearing? Do you support originalism? Do you think this senator was out of line? Let your voice be heard, patriots. We're not backing down, and we're not going away. This is Prodigy Unfiltered. Like, share, subscribe, and stay in the fight. God bless America.